Alright, let's dive into something that's been buzzing in the football world lately. Imagine this, a young talent, fresh off a Premier League win, suddenly being shopped around to some of the biggest clubs in the league. Sounds like a soap opera, right? But that's exactly what's happening with Arsenal's Myles Lewis-Skelly. Here's the deal. Arsenal's looking to recoup some of the £75 million they splashed on Bruno Guimaraes, and Lewis-Skelly's name is on the table. Personally, I think this is a fascinating move. It's not just about the money, it's about strategy. Arsenal's essentially saying, hey, we've got this promising 19-year-old left-back, and he's available. But what makes this really interesting is the timing. Lewis-Skelly just won the league under Arteta, and now he's being offered around like a hot commodity. It raises a deeper question. Arsenal cashing in on his potential, or is this a sign they don't see him as a long-term starter? From my perspective, it's a bit of both. They are capitalizing on his value while it's high, but it also hints at their confidence in other players in that position. Now, let's talk about Manchester United. They're in the market for a left-back, and Lewis-Skelly's name has popped up. What many people don't realise is that United's transfer strategy this summer has been all about balancing youth and experience. They've already brought in Tielemans and Santos, both solid signings, but Lewis-Skelly would add a different dimension. He's young, he's got potential, and he's already tasted success at the highest level. But here's the thing. £45 million is a hefty price tag for someone who's only made 5 league starts. If you take a step back and think about it, United's got to weigh whether he's worth that kind of investment. In my opinion, it's a gamble, but one that could pay off big time if he develops into a world-class player. What this really suggests is that United's not just looking for a quick fix, they're thinking long-term. And then there's Chelsea. They've been made aware of Lewis-Skelly's availability, but whether they'll make a move is anyone's guess. One thing that immediately stands out is Chelsea's recent focus on young talent. They've got a history of snapping up promising players, but with their current squad depth, do they really need another left-back? Personally, I think this is more about keeping their options open. Chelsea's always scouting, always planning for the future. But what makes this situation unique is the competition. If United's interested, Chelsea might feel pressure to act. It's like a game of chess. Every move matters. Now, let's zoom out for a second. The bigger picture here is the transfer market itself. Clubs are throwing around massive sums for players who've barely proven themselves at the top level. Lewis-Skelly's £45 million price tag is a perfect example. What this really suggests is that the market's being driven by potential, not just performance. A detail I find fascinating is how clubs like Newcastle are holding onto their stars, like Lewis Hall, despite losing big names like Guimaraes and Tonali. It shows that some clubs are prioritizing stability over profit. Meanwhile, others are willing to take risks on young talent. It's a trend that's reshaping the game, and it's something we'll be seeing more of in the coming years. So, where does this leave Lewis-Skelly? Honestly, it's hard to say. He's got the talent, but his future depends on which club takes the leap. If I had to guess, I'd say United's the most likely destination. They've got the funds, they've got the need, and they've got a history of backing young players. But here's my closing thought. In a world where transfers are becoming more about potential than proven ability, how do we measure success? Is it about immediate impact, or is it about long-term growth? That's the question I'll leave you with. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm curious to hear your take on this whole situation.